China's plan to attack Ukraine. A critical meeting took place between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The meeting drew attention from all over the world, with many speculating about what the two leaders discussed and what the implications would be for the future. While some saw the meeting as an opportunity for the two nations to strengthen their relationship and promote peace, others feared that it was a sign of impending conflict. In this video, we'll take a look at everything you need to know about the Xi-Putin meeting. In recent years, there has been growing friction between China and the United States, as well as between Russia and the United States. The United States has been particularly critical of China's increasing influence in the world, as well as Russia's involvement in conflicts in Syria and Ukraine. Many believe that these tensions could eventually lead to a larger conflict that draws in other nations. The meeting between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin has raised concerns among some that China and Russia may be forming an alliance to counter the United States and its allies. Both nations have been increasing their military capabilities in recent years, and some fear that this could lead to a new arms race and potentially a full-scale war. During Xi Jinping's highly anticipated visit to Moscow, Vladimir Putin has stated that he will address Xi's 12-point proposal to resolve the severe issue in Ukraine. "We are always open to a discussion process," Mr. Putin said as the leaders exchanged dear friend greetings. Last month, China issued a plan to end the war, which includes ceasing hostilities and resuming peace talks. Nevertheless, the US warned on Friday that the peace plan could be a stalling technique. The world should not be deceived by any tactical maneuver by Russia, supported by China or any other country, to freeze the war on its own terms, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said. Calling for a ceasefire that does not include the departure of the Russian military from Ukrainian territory would basically be ratifying Russian invasion, he continued. China's approach made no mention of Russia's withdrawal from Ukraine, which Ukraine has stressed in a prerequisite for any negotiations. Instead, it spoke of respecting all countries' sovereignty, adding that all sides must remain sensible and exhibit restraint, and gradually de-escalate the situation. The plan also opposed the use of unilateral sanctions, which was interpreted as a failed criticism of Ukraine's Western backers. On Monday, a military band welcomed Mr. Xi to Moscow. Mr. Putin praised China for upholding the ideals of fairness and advocating for undivided security for all countries. Mr. Xi replied to Mr. Putin saying, "Under your strong leadership, Russia has made significant advances in its prosperous development, and I am convinced that the Russian people will continue to give you their solid support." Before Mr. Xi arrived, Mr. Putin stated in China's People's Daily that aggressive US behavior would not harm the two countries. Ukrainian politicians have publicly emphasized their shared values of sovereignty and territorial integrity with China. Yet, they have been discreetly advocating for a meeting or phone call between President Volodymyr Zelensky and Mr. Xi. The concern in Kyiv is that China's support for Russia, which is presently based on technology and trade, may expand to include artillery munitions. If China moves to publicly deliver weapons to Russia, it will effectively be taking sides on the side of the aggressor, said Oleksiy Danilov, Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council. According to UG, a research fellow on China at Chatham House, it was in Beijing's best interest to normalize relations with Russia, with whom it shares a 4,300-kilometer borders. Russia provides energy to Beijing's massive economy and is viewed as a partner in opposing the US. Mr. Yu went on to say that Mr. Xi had just won a diplomatic success by facilitating the resumption of diplomatic relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia. This could be an opportunity for him to investigate the possibility of meditating between Russia and Ukraine. Mr. Xi was treated to a 7-course supper on Monday evening, which included Nelma fish from the Pechora River in northern Russia, a classic Russian seafood soup, and pancakes with quail, all accompanied by Russian wine. Dmitry Peskov, the presidential spokesperson, said there will be a full explanation of Moscow's actions in Ukraine over dinner. On Tuesday, the main day of the visit, Russian and Chinese representatives will meet. The meeting comes only days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest order for Russian President Vladimir Putin on suspicion of war crimes. This means that Mr. Putin may be imprisoned in 123 nations, yet neither China nor Russia are on that list. The meeting between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin has raised concern that China and Russia could be supporting countries involved in regional conflicts, potentially leading to a larger conflict. Both countries have been involved in conflicts in the Middle East and have supported different sides in the conflict in Syria. If the situations in these regions were to escalate, it could potentially lead to a larger conflict involving other countries. And with that being said, it's time to end our video. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you with another interesting video.